Welcome to Motivate Me, which is your weekend pep talk. And the reason why you need one on the weekend is because when we get to the weekend, we do different things. So if you are somebody who's been doing all of the exercises with me this week, you might think, oh, there we go, I did that. Now, how do you remain motivated and how do you remain on top of the game? So some of the things, I'm going to recap on some of the things that we've done this week, but also I'm going to go back to that post that Pauline put up about the link between bowel cancer and exercise and the survival rates of people who had bowel cancer, did exercise was better, and why that is. So let's have a look at recapping on dopamine. So all this week has been about shaping your future, and it's about giving you the opportunity to think about where do you want to be. Never feel dissatisfied with where you are now, because negative thought patterns can really drag you down. So think about this dopamine reward system that the body has that really helps us to remain focused and exercised. And what dopamine does is it prepares us with excitement to look forward to the event. So this time last weekend, it was Big Tribute. And leading up to the Big Tribute week, everybody in my class who was going was like, oh, I can't wait for this weekend. It was the weekend of the year where you got together and you remembered your happy memories and your friends. And this is dopamine. So dopamine gives you that excitement to look forward to doing whatever thing it is. So if you went to the Big Tribute and all the way through you went like, oh, this is really boring, I hate it, blah, blah, blah. When you think about the Big Tribute, you would be thinking about, oh gosh, it was really boring. But if you had fun and you go Big Tribute fun, you associate that. And this is where we start to get habit forming. And what we want to do when we're new to exercise is use dopamine to stack habits. So Saturday morning Pilates is always a good one because people finish their week and start the weekend feeling good about themselves, because standing Pilates gives you that real core kind of control, makes you feel right. And again, that's dopamine. So dopamine gives us better coordination, calms our brain processes down, allows us to think a little bit more clearly, and gets rid of all that kind of stuff that we hang about in our head. And when we start to understand the body's hormones and the way that they play a significant role in our health, we stop getting fixated on going to the gym, doing sets and reps, or following a plan, because a plan doesn't give us that kind of hormonal control unless you get connections. So connections are the important thing. So let's go to this paper that looked at the reasons why people who exercised following colon cancer had a longer lifespan. And it's because of these things, this positive thing of feeling like you're shaping your future, that you are rewarding your body for effort, you are recognizing the kind of intentions that you're giving. And you're within your bodies, you have this kind of weird thing called myokines. Myo belonging to muscle and kines belonging to the kind of connection between muscle contraction and signaling to the brain. Now, it's not like it's a communication process, but not like in talk. It is a hormonal and neurotransmitter communication between muscle and brain. Now, your brain controls everything that goes on in your body. You're too hot, start sweating. You're too cold, you start shivering. You're hungry, it gives you your stomach pains. Whatever's going on. But it also works the other way around. So when we exercise, the body can, and you're saying to your brain when you're exercising, I'm doing a good job, I'm shaping my future, I'm working toward rewarding myself for my efforts. Anything that works for you. Don't use my words, use your own words. Shaping your future is something that I've done. And in fact, I was talking about my degree, wasn't I? About, how I got into doing a degree. And one of the things that I did and I got a 98% in this assignment, which was great. I even got an award for it. Here we go. But it was called Shape Up. And Shape Up was an exercise and weight loss program that I devised when I was working in the university. We ran it successfully for ages. But shaping up, or, you know, if you tell somebody you need to shape up, shaping is what the body does. So when you move your muscle, you communicate with the brain, okay, saying like, I'm enjoying this. The brain says, okay, let's build more blood vessels to this muscle. Let's put more nutrients into this. Let's build more muscle mass. And as the brain communicates to the body to do this, it starts healing. Okay, so not in a spiritual healing way, but actually like if you cut yourself and your cut heals, or if you've got a scar and your scar heals, and your body gives protective measurements to your endocrine system, your hormonal system, your muscle growth, your bone growth when you exercise. And this is enhanced when you do it with intention. And we've talked about intention, about how when we focus intention onto the task ahead, you can use eyes, visualize yourself doing it, eyes watching somebody else doing it and being inspired, listening to your heartbeat. Okay, there's a whole thing called interoception where you listen to your body, but maybe listen to podcasts, anything like that. Talking, telling people about what you've done. You know, this week I've done this. I hated that class. I liked this class. I did that, but this is how I felt. When you vocalize your own experience, not only do you reinforce that experience into your brain and body patterning, but you also might inspire other people, especially your friends, because your friends tend to be kind of similar things to you. So if you've done something different this week and stepped outside your comfort zone and tried some of the sessions that you kind of thought, well, actually, I quite enjoy that, then that's the kind of communication that you need to share. 22nd of August, when was that? Last week, another paper came out that I'm going to talk about over the weekend about how body fat distribution changes as we get older and how that influences heart health. And this is part of an aging process that we can't do anything much about, okay? This is just normal aging. It is enhanced or speeded up or made greater in women who are going through the menopause. And having the awareness of that can sometimes help us with our rewards and recognition. Because you might be saying to yourself, and you see a lot of posts like this now, I'm not working for whatever, I'm working for my old body. So you can pay it forward for your body when you start to exercise now, so that next year and the year after and the year after, you are still reaping the rewards. You get instant changes to your body the minute you start exercising. If you did standing Pilates this morning, you would have felt different, okay? So when we talk about feelings and emotions, it doesn't always have to be related to you and somebody else. It can be related to just you and your body, about how that feels. You'll feel different, but you have immediate changes. You have changes to your blood pressure that normalizes, changes to your blood cholesterol levels that use up what are called the bad cholesterol, whether that's been in contention these days, and protecting your body. When you do it on a more regular basis, it's like driving home the same way. You get used to that journey and it becomes faster. You get home without realising it. When you go on new journeys, it takes longer because you've got to concentrate and think about things. It's the same with your fitness journey. The more times you can practice, the more dopamine reward system you do, the more communication between contracted muscles and your brain and you being positive, the quicker that response gets. This has been shown time and time again in sports science in top athletes. Now, I'm not saying top athletes are just, that's where we're going to be going, because that's not where I'm going to be going. But understanding how we can make little changes on a daily basis to help ourselves. So some of the homework I'm going to give you is to increase your step count. Okay, because that is just an easy way for your brain and body to start to work together. and never whinge about the extra steps, okay? Try and think about getting, in my house, Bryn's always calling me getting the steps in. Always getting the steps in me. So whether that's, you know, doing the 10-minute walk in the morning when I walk the dogs, or if I haven't done enough step counts, 10-minute walk in the evening. It doesn't have to be a long walk. But on the weekend, if you can, get in a half an hour minimum walk. Now, you don't have to walk at any particular pace. It doesn't have to be anywhere. It doesn't have to be hiking. You can walk up and down the street. It doesn't matter. What it needs to be is continuous. I always think it's worthwhile having your trainers on, simply because it gives you a little bit more support, because if your feet start to rub, you won't want to walk because you'll have a pain signal in your foot and your brain will be going like pain, pain, stop. And then you'll start to associate walking with pain. So it's just like a bad thing. So wear comfortable shoes, get good socks, okay? There's a few things I invest in my life, nice socks and trainers, because my feet, I can't manage my life without my feet. So, you know, if you're going to buy yourself anything, little gift this weekend, get some of those nice sports socks that have got like grips in the middle. And I've gone from having ankle socks to higher socks simply because, I don't know, is it like an older thing? My feet have changed. If I wear ankle socks these days, they go into my trainers, drive me mental. So I have to have the higher socks these days. I don't care if I look stupid. That's the other thing when you're older, is that you don't care when you feel what you look like. So, if we were in a cafe, you will have a handout for this with goals and tasks and reflection times. But because you haven't, go back to the drawing that we did on Tuesday. See if you can fill in any extra bits. Pin it up on your wall. Pin it up on your bathroom door facing the toilet, because if you're sitting down, you'll look at it, okay? And you'll start to think about things. And then try and think of a plan of action. You might be coming to classes with me. You might think, actually, I want to join the cafe next time. Don't forget, if you do join the cafe next time, code runs out midnight tomorrow. But really start to think about, it's not about what other people think about you. Never, ever, ever exercise because somebody tells you you should exercise. Never exercise because somebody's putting you under pressure to lose weight. Always exercise for yourself. Always exercise for here. Think about shaping you for your future. You're never too old. It's never too late. And we can all start today. Take care. Have a lovely weekend. Hwyl fawr.